Good afternoon. Thanks for joining me. I'm Keith Armour. I'm the Education Homework Support Manager down here at the main library. Today we're going to talk about Creativebug. It is a really cool website that we have a subscription to. That you have to have a library card to enjoy, but you can take some classes. You can learn about knitting techniques and sewing and drawing. You can look at this wonderful leaf picture and then create your own leaf. It looks kind of close. I'll show you the technique that showed me how to do that. And I'm going to share a few more activities, especially our crafting activities that we have for young and old throughout the library system. So let's go ahead and take a look at Creativebug. Well, all right, we've arrived at our website, cincinnatilibrary.org. And to get to Creativebug, we go to Research Databases here on the left-hand side. And we go right down here to Online Courses. Click there. And it's right there at the very top. Creativebug, learn how to complete a wide variety of arts and crafts projects, from figure drawing to furniture upholstery to felting. Creativebug has more than 1,000 videos for all skill levels taught by artists and experts. So it does have a little library card symbol here. That just means that you have to have a library card to be able to use this website. Now, don't forget, if you don't have a library card, call us at 513-369-6900 or stop by one of our branches to get yourself a library card. So we're going to go here. Now, this, of course, is the welcome page. We're going to put our library card number up here, but it's unlimited access. You have projects that you'll love, something, do something just for you. And there's all sorts of great things here. So we're going to go ahead and put in our login, and then we're going to get started. So a couple of things I want to point out. At the very top, you've got classes. Now, when I put my mouse over the word classes, you see all of those wonderful things that pop down there. You've got art plus design, sewing, quilting, paper, knitting, crochet, food and home, jewelry, holiday and party, and kids. So there's all of these 10 different categories. And in holiday and party, we looked at just a little bit of that last week for the spooky part of Halloween. But there's also a kids section here, and the kids section actually has 263. So if I come over here to classes and click on the kids section, there's actually 263. Now there's I filtered it a little bit, but these are all activities that you can do with children. So take that into account when you're looking at the classes up here. Now, if I just go to one, let's go to holiday and party. And you'll notice when I move my mouse over to holiday and party, then you see a whole bunch of things that happen. You've got CB Live, daily practice, parties, weddings, Valentine's Day. You've got Halloween. Let's just go to Halloween real quick. Click here. And here are 24 classes that incorporate some aspect of Halloween. So you could have an easy bird costume if you're really busy, since Halloween is this weekend. And there's also some cookies, some other sugar cookies here, some candy corn headband. You've got a really interesting beard made out of felt. You have those trick-or-treat bags, and you have all sorts of different things as well. So let's take a look here. We're going to go back to daily practice now. If we go up to daily practice, we see some really nice programs here. There's actually 64, and this is going to give you some different ways to practice your skill and build on them one at a time. And we're going to come back to this one right here, because that's where I learned how to create that really cool leaf when I'm not really good at drawing. but I think these daily practices would probably help me. So there's 24 daily practices here, and you can see it keeps loading in. And if we go to one, and we're going to go back to the daily practices in just a moment, but let's come over here to resources. Now, when you go to resources, there's several different things. Number one, you can go to the calendar, and you'll notice these are the things. Now, this already is past the 13th, but now you could play it. You can see that coming up in November, these are the different classes. You can sew a Christmas tree skirt, and then they've got even quilting patterns as well. And then we go to daily practice, resources again. We can look at the instructors, and they've got all of these wonderful instructors here. So if you like one class from a particular instructor, then you might like some other classes as well. So if we just go to Carolyn here, you'll notice this is Carolyn's class right there. She's only has one, but there are other people that have had more than one class. Here's some of her galleries here as well, okay? Now, if I come back to resources and go to the blog, I can see any information that's been out. This was the 13th, and this is the 1st. And then I go to cbtv, Creativebug Television, and I can learn a little bit about cbtv here, and I can look at the episodes. Now, this lookbook, I'm going to click on that.
There's nothing like Creativebug in October. We've got thrills without the chills, treats without the tricks, and the most fabulous new classes to get you into the spirit. Our daily practice is taught by Courtney Cerruti and features 31 days of spooky monoprints. The process is scarily simple with practically magical results. Because it's officially sweater weather, it's the perfect time to learn to crochet a top with designer Tian Connaughton, who's a stitching wizard.
So each month they talk about what they're featuring in the CBTV episode. And those mono printing, that's what we're going to talk about in just a moment. I'm going to come back up to resources. There's an entire pattern library here. Of all sorts of different things, for crocheting to scarves to gingerbread house, all sorts of different ones here. And you can just download, if I click right here, that Blue Horizon sweater and come over here, and there is 5 pages, and it gives me the instructions and how to make different things. And then it even shows me the pattern of the sweater as well, okay? So I think that's a really cool feature that they have all of those resources for you. And then they have class collections as well. Oh, and by the way, there were 24 classes just for Halloween. So here's Christmas in July. So, you know, Christmas is coming up, holidays are coming up. If you want to go there, you can. We're going to go back to daily practice. And we're going to take a look at this one right here. This is October with art at the beginning. So sorry. Now this is one of the classes that I took, Leaf in Hand and Witch. But they'll give you a description. So they'll give you a description. And what you're going to learn how to set up your materials. You're going to use a nib pen. And this right here is a nib pen right here. And this is the inkwell that they used. Now, I did it a little differently. I did not have a nib pen or an inkwell for my demonstration to make my leaf. So I used a little cover, a plastic cover, and I used a dry erase marker. And I think I got a fairly good leaf. It doesn't quite look like that, but it looks close enough for me. If I took all of this class, it would be 5 hours long, okay? And then what you'll get is directions, you'll get 31 high definition video lessons. And you'll notice that the video lessons, if I go to chapters, if I go to video lessons, you'll notice that they're not very long. This one's like 9 minutes. This little kitty witch is 15 minutes. So if I click here, I can
We're
watch
on
the
lucky number
video.
13, so we're going to do a special image. I want to do a cat with a hat, and for this we're going to composite 2 of our reference images together. So you have to think about this before lining everything up. It would be obvious or maybe intuitive to do the cat first, but then what happens when you want to draw?
And I'm going to turn her volume down. So what she's using is she's using photos, and when you download the instructions, you'll actually get all of the photos that she's using. And then she has this aspartame a clear cover that goes over, and then she tapes another piece of paper and then she folds it down. Now this one's a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to go back to the leaf, and I'm going to, her volume's still down, and see what she does is she tapes, I'm getting that in the way there. She tapes the paper down, and you'll notice she dips her pen in, and then she's just going to do a little bit of the outline with this pen, with that special ink. And remember, I used a dry erase marker to do my outlining. And then she pulls it down, and then she just rubs over it, and then she'll lift it up, and you'll see part of the leaf is on there. So that's the technique. It's called mono printing, and it's a blotted line technique. And it combines tracing and basic printmaking. So it's going to be a flip image when you finish, and then she uses watercolors afterwards. It's a really cool technique, especially if you're not really good at actually drawing shapes, but you also want to get into watercolors as well. I thought it was really a fun way to get the technique down, and I might be investing in a little bit of a nib pen and going into that direction, trying this out some more. There's a whole bunch of things. So if I come right over here to materials, these are all the materials that you would need for this. Transparency sheets, a straight holder, some baby wipes. But what I also always love about Creativebug is they always give you the PDFs. So here I downloaded the PDFs. And remember, that's 31 days, so there's something every day. And there's what she was working on, where she combined 2 pictures, one of the cat and one of the hat. And here are all the materials, and then all of these really great pictures that she was able to use that technique. And this is the one I did. When I did the hand, it just did not look very well. So I just cut out the leaf. But it was a really cool technique. And then you can really get into the watercolor aspect of it as well. So this one actually had 46 different pages of different drawings, because remember, once again, it's 31 days. So I'm going to go back. And then you can go to the gallery and see other people's artwork here. And you'll notice if I click here, there's some of the watercolors. And she's just using basic watercolors to fill it in. And then you have a discussion aspect, so people can add some discussion. And you'll see a little memory gallery. So member gallery. And so there's someone that did the spooky ghost, and here's some pumpkins there as well. So I thought that was a really neat way of doing this. And you'll notice now she is using her watercolors. She's made her tracing of the leaf and the hand, and now she's mixing colors, and she'll talk about that throughout the lesson. And remember, this lesson is only 9 minutes long, but you're picking up a lot of different techniques and you're also understanding a little bit more about the concept of drawing. I just thought this was really a cool idea. So this is Creativebug, and it is definitely, it will give you some suggestions on where you left off. It'll give you some recommendations. And then they always have, what I love is that resources and that cbtv where they're going to show you exactly what the newest classes and what they're highlighting for the month. So right around November 1st, look for the November lookbook, and they'll tell you a couple of things that you can possibly make. And once again, you've got all of these different classes. So if you're into making something for maybe someone who is expecting a baby, you could crochet something. So if we go to crochet, we could find baby and kids, and you can see all of the different things. Now, isn't that cute? A little crocheted carrot or a little crocheted beanbag frog. So some really great activities, and there's 30 classes here. So if we just go to the beanbag frog, it's going to go through these techniques, and then the chapters for that are very short because you're just building one item, and that's the crocheted frog. But it's going to break it down and under each category. So you're going to have the overview and the materials, and then work on the body and the arms and legs and eyes. Just some really cool things that you can do using Creativebug. Once again, to get Creativebug, you have to go to the Cincy website, and then go to Research Databases, and then go right over here to Online Courses. And it's right there at the very beginning. I do want to point out a couple of things here. Vaccine updates here. We have a whole bunch of free COVID test kits at our branches, and they're available at our drive-through locations, and that's Anderson, Covedale, Delhi, downtown at the main library, Groesbeck, Harrison, Reading, and Sims Township. And remember, the hours are a little bit different for each location, so keep that in mind. But these tests are really in high demand, so the first come, first serve, but we're trying to get them out as much as possible. And of course, you can go to this coming week, a weekend on the 29th. That's tomorrow. You can, the Forest Park branch is having vaccinations from 1 to 4, totally free, and that's from the Hamilton County Public Health Department and the library, and 1 to 4 over at Sharonville branch, and that's happening November the 9th. So keep that in mind. Now, I do want to point out, we're going to go back up here and go to events. So when you go to events, don't forget, you can go to all, but you're going to look at over here under event types. And if you go to event types and go to crafts and DIY, do it yourself, you'll notice, and I'm going to put in here the 29th. And if you put in here, you'll notice that there's a whole bunch. There's actually 243 events on here. Now, some of them are repeated, but you definitely want to check them out. So on Loveland, on Monday, it's Take and Make Cards for Kindness, and that is for children and teens. You've got over at Bond Hill, you've got Fun Day Monday. You've got some sun catchers, and that's for children, preschool all the way up to children and teens over at Covedale from 3 to 4 on Tuesday. You've got Mini Twine Bowl. You've got a Sketchbook Club, and that's for teens. So if I go right here to Sketchbook Club, they're going to learn how to do some sketching and some new techniques to fill in and hone your art skills. And that's for 10 through 18. And they have another one that's coming up in December as well. So definitely check out our calendar because there's so many things that are going on. And when the weather starts getting a little crazy and it's just not good to be outside, you might want to come by and go to one of our in-person events that are happening. All right. I'm going to tell you a few. Oh, one thing more that I want to point out on our website under services, if you go to Makerspace, don't forget Makerspace is right under there, and there's all sorts of different projects that you can do with all of this great Makerspace equipment that's downtown, and then we have some at some of the other locations as well. All right, I'm going to tell you a few more things, and we'll call it a day. Well, all right, that's Creativebug. You can create your own mono printing drawings. Really kind of fun. I kind of enjoy doing it. It's very relaxing. It's almost a combination of tracing and also coloring as well. I use just crayons for mine, so I need some watercolors. But definitely check Creativebug out, especially when it gets cold and gross out. You can enjoy doing something a little bit fun and getting away from other devices. You can look at the technique and then try it out yourself. Don't forget, of course, we still are having testing kits at all of our drive-through locations, so pick those up if you need them. And we are giving out vaccines. We're doing vaccinations at 2 locations coming up on Friday, October 29th, and that is Forest Park, and that's from 1 to 4, and then also 1 to 4 on November the 9th at Sharonville as well, so definitely check that out. And then also always look at our calendar online for all sorts of different events. I highlighted over 200 different events that are happening when it comes to crafts and do-it-yourself. You just need to keep active and keep enjoying your library. All right? You have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week for Lunch Learn. Thanks. Bye-bye.